YouTube, I'm back. As you can see, I'm on quarantine. That's a long story for another time. But what I'm going to do is today I'm going to make some no-knead bread. So if you're new to the channel, I appreciate it if you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And let's get to it. Okay. Okay, so right now I'm going to use my stand mixer just because it's easier. And what is these crumbs on top of my stuff? Oh, because it's easier, and so I'm going to use that. And let's get started. So we're going to start off with the flour. With the flour, we're going to do 3 cups of flour. So I could have pre-measured this, but I just thought I'll just get it as I go. I just thought to do this just a few seconds ago. So with 3 cups of flour, I'm going to measure. Uh-oh. Yeah, see I'm dropping stuff. Okay. Y'all, this bread is so good. We just eat the bread by itself. So I'm going to say this is about 2 cups. That's 2 cups. And then I'm going to get 1 additional cup. So let's put this in the mixer. Y'all know I'm right-handed, so I'm sorry if I put my arm into the camera. So I'm going to try to do this with my left hand. And then I have my dough hook on. This is a dough hook and what it looks like for a stand mixer. So let me get 1 more cup of flour here. And then we can get started. So that's like right at 1 cup. So now that was 3 cups of flour. Then we're going to do 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So let me grind a little salt. And y'all know the only salt I have is the pink Himalayan salt. So that's what it is. Okay, let me get this out. So I grinded some off, and I'm just going to do 1.5 teaspoons. That's 1 teaspoon. So let me try to. That's 1 teaspoon. And I just knocked some of it over. So, and then 1/2 teaspoon. Y'all know I don't really measure in real life. I'm doing it just for the video. So I try to do it really. Everything I try to do is cook very quickly and not make it such a hassle to be in the kitchen. I dumped some of that out there, so we're going to call that 1.5 teaspoon for the recipe's sake. It's 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Okay, so from there, we're going to do 2 teaspoons of sugar. So let me put my flour down. I'm going to set that down in the sink, and I'm going to get to my sugar here. Sorry, y'all, I just didn't get prepared today. I just thought of it, and I said, let me jump on here and do a video, just in case anybody else is interested in making some fresh bread. And honestly, when COVID happened, and I was just making bread, trying to make bread like once a week, and trying to stay at the grocery store. So that was this when I started making bread. 2020. So that's 1 teaspoon of sugar, and then the second teaspoon of sugar, and that's all the sugar we need. And put the lid here. And then we're going to take 1/2 teaspoon of yeast. Sometimes I put a full teaspoon in. I don't know that I need that much. So I'm going to, since it's a no-knead bread, I'm just going to use a half a teaspoon this time of yeast. So this is my half teaspoon measurement. Wipe some of the salt off of it. And I have it in this mason jar just because I keep it in the refrigerator. And this is how much bread I've made over time. Because this is absolutely the only thing I make with this is my fresh bread. So that's how much I've made. This used to be a full container. But it's a good thing. So from here, we want to activate the yeast. And some people who make their bread, like my neighbor, when she makes her bread, she puts the yeast and the warm water in a cup or a jar by itself. I'm heating my water a little bit more. She'll put it in a jar and make sure the yeast is active. I put everything in the bowl and let the yeast activate itself there. The water temperature should be at least about 109, 110 degrees. And I do not take the temperature for that. Yeah, no, a lot of stuff I do not do measurements for. I do feel. So you can't have the water too hot. You can't have it too cold to activate the yeast. But around 110 is a good temperature. So my thing is 110 is if you can touch the water and you know it's warm water, you're probably pretty close to 110. So I'll put that in there. This is also a good time for you to add, if you wanted to add flax seeds or any other kind of things to your bread, this is a good time to do that. So I'm going to let this mix until the dough pulls away from the side of the container. And then I'll show you guys what the dough ball looks like shortly, okay? Let me mix this up. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've done it with 1 cup of water. And I want to show you something. I'm sorry about that. I wanted to show y'all something. So you just kind of got a pasty dough. So if your dough is coming out looking like this and kind of ragged like that, put another half cup of water, okay? So this is what that's the dough. And so I'm gonna put another half cup of water because I want it to pull together. It's pulling, but it just leaves a little bit more water. So I'm gonna make sure you keep the water at the 110 degree Fahrenheit. So that's what I'm doing. Putting some more water in. Because it's coming together nicely, but I would like for it to pull away from the sides even more so. So put the water in and I'm gonna cut the mixer back on. You could indeed put all the dough in, all the water in at one time, but I was just trying to show you guys if you felt like you didn't get enough measurement of the water, what the actual dough would look like, a kind of a bread dough, but you want it all to pull together. So I'll show you what it should look like in just a second after this is finished mixing. Okay, so now I want to show you guys when it looks like it's too sticky or too slimy like that, you just want to add a little bit more flour. So you can add the flour, and I wouldn't even say go up to a half a cup. I would say give maybe a 1/4 of a cup of flour, just until the dough starts to pull away from and form a ball. So when you have a stand mixer, it'll form a ball for you. So if you're kneading, you're gonna just have to knead until it's not as knead with your by hand. You're just gonna have to knead until it's start pulling and it starts sticking together and pulling away from your hands. So when you're in a stand mixer like I'm using, it'll pull away from the sides of the bowl. So that's just an FYI. So if it's too dry, add more water. If it's too loose, then you add more flour. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the nice inconsistency. Hold on. Voila, this is what the dough ball you want to look like. It's gonna still be a slight bit of sticky, but when you pull this and it's sticky, you can always, like I said, add flour to your hands. I'm just showing you guys. I'm grabbing it without any flour in my hands, just so to show you it still have a slight sticky consistency, and that's okay. What I do is pull it off my dough hook. I add a little grease to my hand, typically, and I'll put the grease around and make it surround the dough ball so that it doesn't stick to the side of the bowl while I'm letting it rise. Like I have to let it sit for about an hour or so. And I'm sorry about that because my other line is ringing. So hold on just a second. So I apologize for that. So anyway, so I'm gonna pick the ball I'll pick the dough back up. And what I'm going to do, I just have this, my olive oil is just the closest thing I have. So I'm going to put a little olive oil on top. And I'm going to rub it around the dough so that it won't stick. It really, really the point of that is so it won't stick to the bowl. When it's all said and done. Let me get the whole set of dough out. Because again, I am right-handed, but my right side seems to miss the camera here. To block the camera. So this is what the dough should look like. And then again, I'm gonna put that olive oil all around it. Any kind of oil. I just happen to have the olive oil sitting there because it's right here by my stand mixer. But you're gonna make this dough good and shiny. So you give it time to double in size, and that should take about an hour, especially in a warm kitchen. Right now it's winter time, so I was cooking something else as well, so my kitchen is pretty warm. So I'm just going to leave this in this stand mixer for about an hour, and then I'll come back and I'll show you guys the baking process and what I will bake this in. I'll show you the pan. I'm going to heat up the pan probably like 20 minutes before I come back on, and I'll show you guys all that process. But so we're going to do it just like that. And I'm going to return it to the bowl. And once I return it to the bowl, I need to wash my hands. But before I turn it to the bowl, let me just wipe my hand off with this cup towel. And you want to cover it so nothing flies in it. Nothing flies in it. So you want to just cover it just like this. And let the warmth stay within the bowl. And in an hour, we're going to bake it. I'll be back. Okay, you guys, I'm just getting back. So, let me tell y'all what I have. I have all this. I have done this already, and I almost forgot to come back on and do the video, so I do apologize for that. So, I have my Dutch oven. I cut my oven on. Oh, it's hot. I have my oven on 450. Put my Dutch oven in it so it's nice and hot, very hot. Now I got my parchment paper. I'm gonna drop the parchment paper, and the reason for the parchment paper is to be able to pull the bread out evenly and securely once it's cooked. So I'm gonna put my bread here and let it fall down in the pot. You want to create a oven, like a hot oven, because this is no knead bread. So I'm gonna take my bread loaf out. I'm gonna take my bread loaf out, and now I'm going to put it in the center here so it can fall down. And like that. And of course, y'all know that's super hot. Like I said, the Dutch oven was in the. I put it in there for about 10 minutes, so it'll be nice and hot. And I'm gonna put this in the oven for about 30 minutes and let it bake. Okay, so I'll come back and show you guys the finished product. Okay, she's out of the oven. It's super hot. It's been 30 minutes. See what she looks like. Ooh, this is so very hot. Okay, let me set that right there. Don't want to accidentally touch it. So she is still light brown. So I'm going to put her back in. I'm acting like it's a part. I'm going to put it back in the oven for another 10 to 15 minutes and let it brown up a little bit more on top. And we're going to see how she tastes. Okay, so hold on just a second. Let me put it back in like again, another 10 to 15 minutes. But it looks really good. Okay, I'll be back. I'm sorry, I didn't say this part. Before I put her back in, I really need a mitt. So if y'all gonna do this, really do this with a mitt, okay? And I don't think I have one close by. So I'm gonna lift this out of here. I'm going to take my cup towel It's just still hot. Oh, I almost dropped it. I'm going to take it and put it back into this without the paper, without the parchment paper. And I think I'm just going to drop it in there because I don't have... And so we're going to leave it uncovered for the next 15 minutes, okay? Okay, you guys, I am back. And look at this bread. She's nice and brown. And of course, she's still hot. So I'm going to ease it out of this pot because I want it to cool. Please do this with gloves. Again, I'm not doing the right thing. But don't do like I'm doing. She is nice and browned. She's nice and brown and she's nice and hot. And listen to the crunch factor. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Ooh, it's gonna be so. It smells so good too. See that nice bread? Okay. You hear that? It's nice and crispy. So this is what you do when you put it back in there for that 10-15 minutes. You're just making it as crispy as you want the outside. So I'm gonna have to get a little test taster in here. Because I know I can test with myself, but I love to hear when they like what I got made. So I'm going to call a little test taster in here. And I'm going to cut a little end piece off. Matter of fact, let me just cut it right now. It's like I said, it's still hot, so I probably shouldn't even be cutting it yet. But I'm going to go ahead and do it again. You hear that? So y'all know it's crunchy. On the outside. My kids are waiting for this bread. Ooh, it's smoking hot. Look at that steam. Y'all see the steam coming off of it? Can you see the steam coming off of it? It is delicious. Okay, so it's nice and soft. Look how powerful it is. Nice and soft. So I'm gonna. They love to eat this bread, but I'm gonna take my mask off. Give me a little piece real quick. Hold on just a second. That's good. That's good. I'm gonna let one of my kids taste it. This is so good. I'm gonna put a little butter on mine. So good. I'll be right back. Okay, take yours. Okay, so now I'm gonna have my little taste tester here. Here she is. You wanna take this whole piece or you wanna just cut off a piece?
I might eat the whole piece if you know how it tastes.
How you gonna heat the whole piece depending on how it tastes? I put a little butter on top of hers. So, what are you doing? Is it good or bad? You'll tell the people?
Good.
So, what are you trying to do?
Eat it.
But I was gonna let your brothers them taste some.
I need it.
All right, she just said she gonna take that whole little piece for herself. I gotta let the rest of it cool, so we're not gonna argue with it, Shae.
You want some? Too bad.
Too bad it's yours.
Oh, Lema.
Baby, love you too. All right, you guys.
Love more.
I guess we're not gonna have nobody else test tasting tonight. So we got our official little test taster. She did the test tasting, so she walked off with the rest of the bread. Okay. Yeah, so if you guys came in late and you new to the channel, we appreciate you. Please understand that if you would be so kind to go back and watch the entire video, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Know that I appreciate you. Again, this was the no knead bread, and it sounds like it tasted really good. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one.